I'm a firm believer that Caseoh is one of the current best streamers on basically all platforms. And not just because of I think he's funny, but I think it's because he's extremely raw with how he interacts with his fans, with how he has his thoughts on life, and everything of that sort, right? He has a very kind of base take that I feel like a lot of people can agree with, and that's why I really respect Queso, is because, yeah, he is insightful and basic things, but he's also still playing a character, but the character is himself. He's just playing himself if he put himself on a 1,000 times platform, essentially, instead of just being a nonchalant, 6'7" dreadhead. I guess you could say he's just putting himself out there a lot more. And one thing I really appreciate about Queso is he knows what it is like to struggle. I think there's so many streamers these days who streamers and content creators who basically come up from one of two things. Either they literally come up from nothing and they know what it's like to struggle and they put themselves out there and they try to be a better person. I think Speed is another great example of this, where Speed in the beginning was just this rowdy kid that was just doing crazy stuff. And now he's a lot more humble, but he still does the crazy stuff, but he also realizes where he came from at the same time. Doesn't take it for advantage, at least from the clips that I've seen. And I think that's something that him and Queso kind of have in common, is that. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is how much the economy is really making people struggle right now. To the point where $8 is a lot of money, $10 is a lot of money, and $15 is a lot of money. I mentioned this a while back because when you get your ID in most states, you have to basically spend money on it. And we were talking about age verification with IDs online and how it people would struggle with that because of having to spend that extra money. And a lot of people would say, well, it's just this much, it's just that much. But when you are truly living paycheck to paycheck, I mean, it's not like you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're going out to eat, you're going to Texas Roadhouse every day, you're ordering food, you're doing this, that, and all this stuff. It's like, no, you are truly 100% living paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by. That $8, that $15 for whatever it is, whether it's a subscription or it's to go out to eat or it's to subscribe to someone, is such a significant amount. And the reason we're talking about this today is because basically Queso kind of went off on a guy, kind of. He didn't go off on him, he wasn't mean about it in any way, shape, or form. But basically, this guy was kind of, I guess, getting pressed that he was waiting for his ads to be done. And Queso was like, dude, not everybody can pay. $8 is a lot of money. And if you don't know what $8 can buy you, I'll put it into a little bit of perspective. So if you have $8, you can go to Walmart and you can get packs of ramen, right? You can get enough packs of ramen to make 8 meals with, and you could probably get a pack of hot dogs to make those 8 meals with as well. So you could potentially have a week's worth of food. And when you're living paycheck to paycheck, that is a immense amount, you know? Or those $8 might be the only thing that you're going to be able to put in your gas so that way you can get to work. I mean, when I go to work every single day, there's people who come in all the time who only have just enough money to get gas or just enough money to um, get their fix or whatever it is, like whether that's like cigs or whatever, you know. And I think that's something that a lot of people take advantage of, or take for granted, I should say, not advantage of, but take for granted, is that they haven't lived paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not putting down anybody else's struggles or anything like that. I don't want to say that. I'm just saying that there's a different perspective. It's very similar to the perspective of when a billionaire can't basically relate to a common person, like in the slightest, you know? And when you are struggling that bad, where you are truly like, even $5 is a lot of money. to you, then the person above that who's like, dude, it's just $5, whatever. It kind of puts you in that same boat where you're like, you probably will never understand in a billion years how that $5 or $8 could affect my life. You know. Let's go ahead and watch the clip though.
Time to unsub. Okay, Danny, go ahead. Unsub right here before our very eyes, Danny. Go ahead. Do it right now, Danny. Danny, do it now. Guess what? Then now you're going to be getting hit with ads, and then you're going to want me to wait on your ads because you're not sub no more. And now after you unsub Danny, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be like, oh, Case, wait.
Okay, that clip was like terrible. They're not even showing the clip properly.
Hey, $8
Here it is.
Bro.
Here it is.
I'm going to keep it a stack with y'all. $8 be adding up, and if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. That's life. Yo, Mac with the 5. Appreciate you, Mac. You gonna talk about it's only $8 a month. Not everybody got $8 a month. So what about it, huh? So you got $8 a month? Okay, if you got it like that, give 10 people who ain't got no sub a sub then, since you got it like that. Oh, it's only $8 a month? Gift 100 people who ain't got no sub a sub then. You got it like that. Go ahead. Mr. Moneybags. Go ahead and do it then.
And this is one of the things that I just absolutely love about Caseoh. Is, yes, at the end of the day, does he call out the haters? Yeah, 100%. And like, maybe is it just $8? Yeah, 100% it is. But like he said, $8 can end up being a lot over the course of time. Not only over the course of time, but $8 can be a lot in the moment as well. And I really respect Caseoh too, because if you don't know his origin story, basically he was one of those guys who was essentially living paycheck to paycheck. You know, he lives in like a very small town, from my understanding, like in the middle of nowhere. So living paycheck to paycheck, his only options are basically fast food, no Walmart, no nothing. Like it's kind of one of those things that like it's just hard to put the amount of respect on a pedestal. And it might sound like I'm just glazing Caseoh in this video, and I kind of am, 100%. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because seeing another person truly acquire their goals and desires, I think there's just something so special about that. And I also do think that there is a level of the internet that if you're going to be a content creator, you have to call out people hating on you. You know, you have to recognize like actual hate, and you have to call it out, because it's like, or people will just bully you and do this stuff forever. I mean, like, Joe Bartolozzi is one of my favorite content creators ever, essentially. But because he doesn't really call out the hate and he just kind of crashes out about it, like, they just continue to pile it on. And I don't know if he's just doing it for the memes or whatever. I do love Joe Bartolozzi. There's no hate towards him. It's just, like, all the clips you see when he's crashing out is like, dude, he just needs to address it. And, you know, I think a lot of people would get mad at him for it, but I think his actual audience would appreciate it, you know? It's like on here, even on my current YouTube channel right now, you guys don't see a lot of the hate comments because they get held, because that's how YouTube works a lot of the time, is it will hold hate comments. But a lot of the time, like, when I get a hate comment, it's like, oh, cut your hair, oh, shave, oh, do this, oh, do that, do this. You know, it's like people hating on my appearance. And it's like, dude, relax. I like who I am, you know? And I think that's something that people, once again, just take for granted, is they take for granted their ability to hate. Honestly, that's the best way I can put it, is like, they take for granted that they actually have the ability to hate. And that's just something crazy. But that's all I want to talk about today, was really appreciate what you have. Appreciate what you have, because you never know who has it worse. That's it. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace.